Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. So today I have a bit of a special video for you guys. Every now and then on Reddit there's a thread that pops up with honest Hearthstone cards, as if, if you take like a board clear card, the honest description would be win the game. That's obviously not a very good interpretation of one, but, people do these kinds of things and it's generally quite interesting, quite fun, because, the humor behind, Hearthstone often reveals a few truths, and I was honored enough by Zafiend, one of the, kind of frequent Redditors of the Hearthstone scene, who made 25 Kripp-related honest Hearthstone cards. And with this honor, I thought I would, give back to the community and give you guys my thoughts on each one, as I'm sure there's a few interesting things to know and actually learn from the game itself. So, kicking it off, we have actually a joke. This is the Big Game Hunter, of course. So it's now 5 mana, 4/2. If you obtain this card from a Light in the Darkness, Raven Isle, or Unstable Portal, its name changes to Never Lucky. And it is kind of true, because Big Game Hunter is so much worse now than it was before. Whenever you do actually run up against it, particularly for one of the random discovery effects in the game, it really stings that extra little bit. And it already stung quite a lot in the past when it happened. Now, there's a lot fewer big minions, but that just makes it hurt even more when it happens. So absolutely Never Lucky. Then there was I Can Deal With It, the 8 mana 8/8 taunt battlecry. Send your opponent's hard removal wherever it is to the bottom of their deck. Now, this is just a little bit fun, I guess. In general, druids do kind of suck, at least when they're on the other side of the board. I haven't had much issues beating up druids in Arena. The big taunts are a bit of an issue, and it is quite unfortunate when they play this and you have nothing, but generally, druids aren't so bad. And we have the Insane Opener, the 1 mana 1/3 next turn play a meh 2-drop, then maybe followed up with a Tuskar Totemic. So, yes, Tunnel Trog is definitely one of the most broken cards ever. And because it's 1 mana and 1 mana minions really do dictate the game in the biggest way these days, I absolutely detest this little dude. Now, it's mostly a constructed thing, but you guys know constructed does kind of bleed into Arena a little bit. There's going to be that just super lucky guy who drafted a bunch of these and a bunch of overload cards, and you think you're playing ranked mode, but you're actually not. You're playing Arena, where you're playing with napkins, your opponent's playing with this, and then you get infuriated at it, and, well, you guys know the story from there. And we have the True Silver, the 100% turn 4 play. I kind of regard it as the 80% by turn 5 play, but it is still pretty shocking on how many paladins have this card and weapons. I talked about it, how it's like a 30% chance or so if you have 1 True Silver in your deck, because you keep it in your mulligan stage, to have it by like turn 4 or 5, maybe 6. So, that's just insane. It's insane because like every single paladin I play against has a weapon, in the first 5 turns of the game. And when you pick paladin in Arena, you will soon realize weapons are not all that common. So what happens is you don't get weapons, and then you realize paladin is just a garbage class without weapons. So yeah, it is pretty insane how the class is so divided. On one hand, you have the weapon-filled, answer-filled, ridiculous card quality paladins that can play so badly, but beat you every single time and go like 12-0, versus the average paladin deck, which has like no good cards at all, and gets beat up by everything in the game. Because of this division, when you're past like 4 wins, like every single paladin has that ridiculous list that is so infuriating and stultifying to play against. And we have literally constructed the Living Roots. Choose 1, replace your deck with a replace your deck with a Druid 1 from your collection. Oh, I see. So it's constructed Druid. Or pretend you did summon 2 1/1 saplings. So it's kind of an interesting joke, because in Arena, when you curve out, when you have a super powerful 1-drop going first, you generally just win the game, because most decks are built so they can have a 2-drop, and they try to have a 3 and a 4 right after. That doesn't happen all the time. When it does, you kind of win the game. But when it does, and you have the 1-drop as well, it is literally constructed. That's just kind of how it works. People joke about it when, My opponent has a good 1-drop, then a good 2-drop, then a good 3-drop, then a good 4-drop, and they went first. And I'm like flipping my shit. And then people watching are like, dude, what's the big deal? These cards are just common. They're not even that good. But it's surprisingly hard to pull it off in Arena. And when you do pull it off, you basically win, almost all of those games when that happens. So it's pretty infuriating. That is literally how you win at Arena. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and your opponent doesn't. So you win. That's largely how a lot of Arena games go down. And it's pretty upsetting to be on the other side of that. We have the Shredder, 4 for a 4/3 death rattle. Help your opponent explain why they lost the game. Yes, it's true. There is not only a 2-drop in your Shredder, but there is a convenient excuse. And we have the Aggro Swarm Protector, the 3 for a 2/8 taunt. Death rattle, your opponent puts a low-cost minion with a useful battle cry from their deck into the battlefield. It is pretty amazing. It is also one of those cards that just has, huge dividers where a lot of the time it does exactly what that says, but sometimes it gets out like a 9-drop and you instantly lose the game. So, fun card. And we have the Orc, the Smork, 3 for a 4/4 can ignore taunt. My beef with this guy is that if you play him on turn 3 and your opponent has a good curve and he has like one bad attack, like his first attack, if that's really bad, it can cost you the game, because if his first attack is bad, then going into turn 4, your opponent can kill it for free, so it's just like game over. It's sometimes as if you don't play a 3-drop, but other times, ignores the taunt, makes the YouTube highlight pretty good stuff, as you guys know. And we have the Perfect Answer, the Assassinate. What is your opponent supposed to do? It's kind of fair. There's so many ridiculous answers in the game. In Arena, you're playing the wild game. You literally cannot play around everything anymore. You just can't do it. There is a perfect answer to almost every single play that you make in Arena. You cannot play around everything. So when they do have the perfect answer, really, what are you supposed to do? Just kind of rolling dice sometimes. Must have for 5+ wins. This is the Muster for Battle, of course, and it's better than Dr. Boo. And it's true. Muster for Battle is still the best card in Arena. It doesn't always deliver, but it almost always delivers. And when it delivers, it wins you the game by itself almost all the time. So sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work very well against very heavy control decks. To have a very heavy control deck, you generally, 1, have to be playing Mage. 2, need a lot of board clears. Also, you need to draw the board clears on demand. 3, you need taunts and heals to compensate for the fact that you lost the early game, to then board clear, to then not lose to burst damage or a refill on the board. Now, these type of decks are not very common, but they do exist in the higher brackets of Arena. But up until then, a lot of the mediocre decks that you just have to play through when you draft in Arena do get absolutely squashed by this card. So it is very upsetting play against. Then the Kraken, I'm glad the spelling was fixed, and Battlecry finish off your opponent's biggest minion that threatens lethal. Yeah. Oh, and threatens lethal. That's basically what it is. That's not a Kripp version of the card. That's just what the card does. And obviously, because of that, it is a very powerful one. And we have the only answer in the game, the Flame Cannon. Deal 4 damage to a Totem Golem, Fairy Dragon, or Innovated 3-drop. It actually happened earlier this week where I was playing as a Druid going first. I innovated a 3-drop, and my opponent top-decked Flame Cannon and had the coin and killed my minion and then didn't get a 2-drop. And that was so upsetting because his other cards sucked. They were just like small minions I would have destroyed constantly throughout the game and just won. But Flame Cannon is one of those cards that proves that, just hitting that crazy breakpoint at the start of the game is everything. And of course, sometimes the perfect answer is the infuriating one. Look at that! Another Bog Creeper! 7 mana, 6/8 taunt can only be top decked on turn 7 after running out of cards or later to stay alive. That's literally what it does. That's exactly right. And then they get like a direct damage and beat you. Special Delivery. 5 for a 3/3 Battlecry, kill an on-curve as your Drake, Ethereal Conjurer, or Silverhand Knight. Sometimes it does a little bit more than that, but yeah, the Bomb Blobber is a extremely powerful card in Arena, particularly within certain spots. And I think it's one of those cards that if you are playing an opponent who is watching you, if you're streaming, like me sometimes, can save it for the absolute most savage counter. So, if I knew that my opponent had a very expensive minion that had 4 or 5 health, I'd just save this guy for that, tempo him out, and win the game on that spot. So, yeah, it's one that stings again. 2 and 2, my ass. This is kind of related to a game I experienced lately that it was like a crazy mage deck with multiple flame strikes, multiple board clears, very high-end cards, a lot of high-rarity cards at 2 and 2, and it was just a crazy game. Like, I couldn't believe how some of these people lost these games. And that's fair. Scream at your computer all the genuine reasons why you lost 2 games with your deck, never to be heard by your opponent. So sad. Then we have Get Into a Kripp video. This is a Light in the Darkness. 2 mana, discover Deathwing, kill the Zador, Tyrian Forger, and give it +1/+1. Definitely one of the crazy cards out there. Now, it's understandable because it has Discovery effect that it has the bonus on the Paladin Legendaries, so something like Tyrian is relatively common to run up against when you see this card. It's generally the Deathwing that gets me, because Deathwing is one of those cards that you just cannot afford to play around. Even if they, if they have like, what is it, 1 out of like 500 or 600 or 700, but I have no idea what the chances are. But it's around there. You just can't play around that. And when they get it, well, damn. Ridiculous Luck Conjurer. The 5 for a 6/3 battlecry, discover the perfect spell for the current game state. That's kind of what it does a lot of the time. That's why the card is good. Not too crazy stuff there. Then we have the Zombie Chow, the turn 1 go first Zombie Chow, the 1 for a 2/3 battlecry. Your opponent says this card's name. That's true. That's true. The turn 1 go first Zombie Chow is really, really insane. If you have a turn 1 Zombie Chow going second, it's pretty good. But if you have it going first, you literally just win the game in almost every case. So you have to think about that. People regard Zombie Chow as one of the best arena cards, but you guys have probably played Zombie Chow. If you get this card on like turn 7 or 8, it's like the worst card ever. It's one of those cards that you literally don't play. So you have to consider that people see this card as being ridiculously powerful, but it is one of the worst cards in the early game. So you have to kind of understand, just from that general reasoning, how unbelievably absurd it is to play Zombie Chow on turn 1 going first. You get me, right? You feel me? Yeah. Playing around it in 2016, Mind Control Tech. Take your opponent's best minion and validate chat. Yes, that's true. Every single time that you play a 4th minion and you're streaming, the chat goes crazy saying how you suck and you're not playing around Mind Control Tech. And then, 1 in 20, 1 in 30 games, they have it. And then that one time where that guy spammed it, he was right. And he is the best Hearthstone player ever. Never to be seen from again. And we have some 11-win BS. Yes, this is the face of summon a battlecry. Your opponent can't see the rarity of this card. It's kind of interesting. It does definitely have a pretty saltifying impact. The Bomber, again, appreciate the correct spelling. Battlecry, drastically tilt the game to induce dramatic salt, or do relatively nothing. Perfect. Yep, he had it. This is one of those cards that you very frequently have to play against. A little bit less often now because League of Explorers lost its occurrence bonus. But when League of Explorers was in, I think there was a 75% occurrence bonus for League of Explorers cards and ×2 for class cards. So a typical, decent win Paladin deck had a handful of these. So crap, man, is ridiculous to play against this card. That's kind of, been watered out a little bit now with, League of Explorers not being the most recent set, but still, it is pretty nuts. The Insane RNG, 2 for a 2/2 death out of class card from your opponent's class that scores 80+ on tier lists. Unnecessary. Tempo Exodia, 2 mana, win the game! It's true. Sap is one of those extremely polarizing cards. If your opponent is playing nothing but 2 and 3 drops and you have Sap in your hand, you will lose, actually. You will lose. But if your opponent is playing a 5 or a 6 and is in a situation where it's marginal board control or he has nothing, he will instantly lose. So definitely one of those cards that you remember the great things and forget the crappy moments, but definitely does exactly that in a lot of games. And then Prophet, a 0 mana 4/4, steps 1 through 4. Great stuff. Thank you guys. I love it when you guys, do kind of push a few of the memes, a few of the things that I do on stream, a few of the videos that I make in some kind of spin-off way. I know you guys have the Kripparinos in the description. You guys do what you do in chat when I stream. And, I love the attention. I love what you guys come up with. You guys are great. You guys are awesome for contributing to everything that I try so hard to produce every day. So thank you for that, and thank you for everything. It's been a blast reviewing these cards. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in a little bit.